10 signs you married the right person. Marriage can be tricky and challenging at times. So it's only natural that when you're in one of those funks, you begin to ask, did I marry the right person? It's the holidays, and naturally emotions will run high and we will all be tested to our breaking points. At least that's how it is with my family at times. I get it. Before getting too worked up, take a deep breath and look for the following 16 telltale signs that you actually did in fact marry the Mr. or Mrs. Right, and, most importantly, you can get through this difficult time together. You spend time together doing things you both enjoy. Relationships are full of compromises. Take, for example, going to the movies. You may want to see the latest Marvel movie while your spouse would prefer to watch the Leonardo DiCaprio film. Maybe you agree that it's time to see that Leo flick because you picked out the movie the last time you went to the theater. Sometimes you do what you like, and other times you do what the other person likes. That is part of being in a healthy relationship. However, you also need to spend time doing things that you both enjoy doing together. Whether that's hiking, wine tasting, binge watching your favorite TV series, or even working together. My wife and I actually love writing and editing blog posts and articles together. This is one of the most important, and obvious, signs that you are married to the right person. You can also spend time apart. While you enjoy spending time together, you also need to live separate lives. You have no problem if he goes to football games with his best friends. And he doesn't have an issue with you going to concerts with your friends. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you have to spend 24/7 together and can't have separate interests and hobbies. In a healthy relationship, you both understand and respect that you need time apart doing what you want to do. I found in my marriage that we didn't really start appreciating this till after the honeymoon phase. They're attentive. Having a partner who notices what you need or want in a given moment and responds accordingly bodes well for the long-term potential of your relationship, says Elizabeth Schoenfeld, Director of Research and Evaluation at LifeWorks. For example, my wife understands that if I'm bogged down with work, she's not going to make dinner reservations with our friends. At the same time, if she's exhausted because she was up all night with our child who was sick, I'm not going to surprise her with tickets, even the best tickets I've ever scored, to the Warriors game. When there's bad news, you go to them first. Let's say you just got a promotion. Who's the first person that you're going to excitedly tell? I'm sure most of us would say our partner, wife, or husband. But what about bad news, like getting laid off? That's a conversation that you probably don't want to have with your spouse or partner. If you're married to the right person, however, then that is a conversation you'll still want to have, since they will be there to comfort you and help you figure out ways to move on from this bad situation. I know that was the case with me when one of my businesses failed. You have strong trust. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship, whether it's trusting them when they go out with their friends or confiding in them when you're upset. In fact, John Gottman, one of the nation's foremost researchers of marriages and families, says that trust is essential to healthy relationships and healthy communities. They're physically affectionate. Generally speaking, couples who are more physically affectionate with one another tend to be more satisfied with their partners and their relationships, which makes sense, as individuals tend to feel more cared for and understood when their partner shows physical affection, says Schoenfeld. One study even found that physical affection was a strong predictor of love, liking, and satisfaction in marriages. Physical affection can also improve trustworthiness, reduce stress, and put most people in a better mood. They don't expect you to change overnight. We all have quirks and bad habits that we need to work on. After all, no one is perfect. For me, a huge change was making exercise a habit. My wife never made me feel guilty if I put off exercising, but she did encourage me by saying things like, "It's such a nice day, why don't we go for a bike ride?" The right spouse won't make you feel ashamed or even expect you to change overnight. They understand that change is a process, and they will support you along the way. You put the other person first. Between things like work and your kids, you don't always have the time to make your spouse a priority. When you're with the right person, though, that's not the case. It could be simply saying "I love you," washing the dishes after dinner, or taking them to that new restaurant they've been wanting to try out. The point is, no matter how chaotic life can get, you put your spouse first. To some, this is not natural. As with anything in life, it becomes natural through practice. Your fights are productive, not destructive. Even seemingly perfect couples fight behind closed doors. The difference between unhealthy and healthy relationships is that fights shouldn't be about who's right. They need to be more productive. This means listening to each other, understanding and respecting each other's viewpoints, and finding common ground so that you can strengthen your marriage. And please, call it what it is, a fight. Don't go around saying, "We never have fights, we have discussions." A fight doesn't mean you are hurling insults nor getting physical. No! Sure, you are discussing, it's a fight, but you can and should have a fair fight. They share your values and goals. I think it would be boring if a couple had the exact interests or personalities. Some of the strongest relationships that I know are the ones where the couples balance each other out. One of them may be too spontaneous, but the significant other can reel them in a bit. At the same time, that spontaneous person can make their partner, husband, or wife more outgoing. However, there are long-term values and goals that you should share. For instance, if you want to have children but your spouse doesn't, that could have serious implications for your marriage.